Hello, everyone. Coach Jimmy K here. Today we have the owner, developer of Sedona Pro PMF Systems, Franz Zock. Franz, it's good to have you.
Thanks for having me back, Jimmy.
Okay. Could you tell me just a little bit about how many years have you been in the PMF field? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I came into this when I had my knee surgery, my ACL. It was in 1991. Actually, the surgery was in 1990. And then I played professional soccer before for 15 years. After the surgery, I had to wait for 6 months recovery, and I started to play again for 6 months. But it was more trouble than fun because my knee started swelling every time a difficult practice or at the game. So after like another 4 or 5 months, I decided call it quits. It makes no sense. And then a few months later, I played for fun with friends of mine, which we did always on Wednesdays and Saturdays. And a doctor friend of us played with us, and he said, Franz, after the game, he said, your knee looks terrible. What is it? I said, it's from my ACL, always swelling. He said, you know what, come to the hospital. And I said, okay. So I drove for more than an hour, went to the hospital, and he hooked me up with this coil. And I didn't know what it was. He said, okay, it's magnetic field therapy. I knew a little bit about what's going on. And then I said, okay, and explain me more. So after 10, 15 minutes, I asked him, is the machine on? Because I didn't feel anything. He said, yeah, it's on. And he showed me the little piece of magnet. And all of a sudden, this magnet started moving around. I said, what's that? That's the energy I'm treating you with. I said, okay, brilliant. So I went there also the next day, and 3 days later, we played again. And I realized my knee was not swelling as much anymore. So after the weekend, Mondays, I went back to him to the hospital. Tuesdays, I went back. Wednesday, we played again, no swelling. And I was like, wow, what is this? So with the wow effect, I asked him, where can I purchase this machine? So long story short, this was in 1991 when I met the inventor who were building some units in his garage. And that's how we started the business together. So it was a long story. I will tell you one day. It's really interesting because I knew all the professional soccer players and I contacted them. And I said, guys, I have this device here, which is amazing. And the team doctors, they said, okay, Franz, bring it on. We try it out. Yeah. And then we started out in Austria, Germany. And these team doctors and therapists, they couldn't believe what they had in their hand. They called me 3, 4 days later. They said, I can't believe it. We can't believe it. We want to buy one. How much is it? And I didn't even think about the price. I was actually surprised what's happening.
Yeah.
So due to this fact, we actually got into hospitals and clinics from all the team doctors. And in the first 3, 4, 5 years, we were mostly selling to hospital clinics, therapy centers. And then later on, 1996, we got the first phone calls from US doctors. They went to conferences in Europe. They talked to some of our doctors. If we have a representative over there in the US, well, we didn't. I said, okay. I talked to my wife. I said, okay, Austria, the winter time is horrible. You want to move to Florida? 3 kids. We sold the house, moved to Florida. So this was a long story, and this happened all in 1991 when I started. And in 1997, I brought over the PMF device to the United States. It was new land for everyone. Nobody knew about what is pulsed magnetic field therapy. So I had a lot of education to do back then. But anyway, so it took me then a good year, 2 years. And then I got tremendous results with some famous people who knew other people. And then word of mouth spread around. And all of a sudden, private people. And actually the results with them brought me back to the doctor's offices 4 or 5 years later then.
Right. Yeah. So as you can see, everyone, it's not just a fly by night. Okay, it's not snake oil. Okay, this pulsed electromagnetic field therapy has been around. In fact, it is kind of, we can go all the way back to Tesla, and it's energy. We can go back to ancient like Egypt and Greece and all. So So now what? A few years ago, Franz decided to really take the technology of the prior device and kind of improve it, and come up with his own product line. it's just amazing. We're going to go over a little bit now with it, and then of course we've got a beautiful video that we're going to have in a few weeks or so. But the name of the product is the Sedona Pro PMF or Sedona Pro PMF or Plus, you know. And so let's just go straight to the Plus. We're going to go to the flagship. I call this the flagship unit. Now, it comes with a mat that you can lay on, and it also comes with a pillow. Now, let's take the mat. You know, there's generally coils that are placed throughout the mat. So how many coils are in the Sedona Pro Plus?
We have in total 17 copper coils. We have 10 coils for the sine wave, and we have 7 coils for the other waveforms. And as you know already, we have 5 different waveforms. We have the sine wave, the sawtooth waveform, the rectangular waveform, the multi-resonance, and the impulse. So 17 copper coils in total in the mat. And we have 1 big copper coil in the pillow applicator, which is 8.5 pounds, because we want to create a really strong pure magnetic field, and that's where we can go up to 100 Gauss intensity.
Okay, so that and I mean, I've felt the pillow. I mean the pillow is it's heavy. I mean, you know, but then again, it's very strong, and you need this to get deep down. I mean, you need that 100 Gauss. You know, now there's of course a lot of people out there. They say, "Oh, I've got 600 Gauss. I've got 2,000 Gauss." Is that kind of like exaggeration?
Well, the thing is this: with I'm talking about our device, which creates a pure magnetic field. So can you imagine now a device which creates, supposing a 1,000 Gauss pure magnetic field? How heavy the applicator has to be? So 80 pounds. I've never seen an applicator with 80 pounds. So they use a technology. I don't want to go into it. I'm talking about our product. It's pure magnetic field.
All right. So now the controller. Now this is state of the art. Tell us about the controller that you have with the system.
So basically, this is my 4th generation PMF device. And what was missing is the controller. And we live in the 21st century. I created the controller now with a touch screen, because, you know, even older people run around with their cell phone, with their smartphones. They know how to use a touch screen. The second most important thing for me was to create a device, and we had it in the past where you only could use 1 applicator at a time. So either the mat or the pillow. So you had to unplug the mat, plug in the pillow, and use the pillow. So then we had the discrepancy with a lot of people where said, "Oh, my wife is on the mat when I come home from work," or the other way around. So I said, okay, why not create a machine which has 2 in 1? So I talked to my technicians. So basically we have 2 softwares in the control unit so that we can run 2 applicators simultaneously with different programs. So we can have actually the pillow applicator running on 1 program and the mat running on the other program. So 2 persons can use the device at the same time with their own desired program. Especially very beneficial also for our physicians, because all of a sudden they say, okay, brilliant, I buy 1 machine, I can have 2 patients at the same time. So it's double income if they think about money, but it's time saving. And actually the results we've seen is actually phenomenal, because a lot of physicians, they order the extra mattress, which we also can do, because they want to have 2 mattresses on 2 massage tables or recliner chairs. So they have the comfort then for these people that say, okay, I have 2 people at the same time.
Right. Now, so another thing I saw, and we were talking about, was, you know, you've got many, when you shop around for PMF mats out there, everyone, you're confused because there's so many different companies. Everyone says mine's the best. I've got this wave, I've got that wave. And Franz mentioned earlier, there's 5 waves, 5 different waves. So, and each one does a different thing, correct?
Exactly, yes. And first of all, I love the competition. I love that there are units out there on the market, there are companies out there on the market, because they promote the good technology, that PMF is really beneficial. So I see the market is crazy because they fight each other and they badmouth me, which I actually like. But yes, I love competition, and I play professional soccer, and I always like to play against the better teams. They just spread the word around, and we shouldn't forget it's beneficial for all of us. Yeah. Because just myself, my company, I couldn't have done without their help. Yeah. And if they're multi-level or not multi-level or direct sales, so they spread the word around. The pulsed magnetic field therapy is a tremendous therapy, which will actually, as I mentioned in another video, will be necessary in every single household pretty soon, because the Earth magnetic field is getting weaker and weaker. And the funny story, 15 years ago, I was in Los Angeles at the birthday party, and I happened to meet Buzz Aldrin, and he found out what I'm doing. So he said, Franz, you have a minute, I want to talk to you. I said, okay. So we walked to the other room. He said, you do magnetic field therapy? I said, yeah. So he told me a little about the story when they came back from the moon. And I said, you were in the hospital for 5-6 weeks, yeah? He said, yeah. So he told me the real truth, that there was no viral infection or bacteria, because up there's nothing like this.
Yeah.
It was actually osteoporosis, yeah, bone density loss tremendously, yeah, and a few other health issues. So we saw back then, and the NASA saw back then, how unhealthy it is if you're not exposed to constant PMF. Yeah, and there was a clinical study done in Germany around, was it 20 years ago or 15 years ago? They isolated around 15 or 20 young people from the PEMF, from the Earth magnetic field. They gave them the best food, vitamins, everything. They had their Wi-Fi, they had everything. The first people, they rang the bell after 12 or 13 days, major depressions. Yeah. And I think the longest one lasted, I think, not even 20 days. Yeah. So people have to realize we need the magnetic field. Yeah. It's getting weaker from the planet, so we have to give them what the planet can't give them anymore. Yeah? Plus the influence of the EMF, which is also very terrible.
So that's great. I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah.
One thing that the Sedona Pro Plus offers is on the back of the device. Not only does it have, you can attach 2 different mats to it, or a pillow and a mat, but this is evolving, just like when Franz started years ago, just like with the Russians, there used to be only like 2 different frequencies that we worked with. And so we don't know 5 years, you go and you make the investment of buying this mat, and then all of a sudden there's some new goodies that come along, new knowledge that Franz, develops and all. And so you have a USB that they can update, correct?
Yeah, correct. And that's important, because the thing is this, I mean, people don't want to buy a device which is outdated in a few years, in 5, 6, 7 years. So I said, okay, what if I create new frequencies? For example, I increased the frequency range from, which was 1 to 10,000 hertz. Now we have 1 to 15,000 hertz. So maybe I think about to go to 20,000 hertz in a few years. So instead of people having to buy the new device, I send them a link with they can download on their USB, and they plug it in the control unit, and they have the latest version. So it's like upgrading your Apple Mac, from the last version to the very latest version.
Right. Instead of having to go out and spend $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 because all of a sudden Apple came out with the new iPhone, and it's not compatible with the other, so all of this is the genius behind this, man, thinking ahead, thinking the future. Now
but also, sorry to interrupt you, but also it's another helps for another purpose, because sometimes, and we're working with the technology, there could be a software problem in the device. Simply people plug in the USB, they reboot the device, and it's working again. So it also helps in this case.
Right. Now the Sedona Pro Plus, we have the Sedona Pro, and then the Sedona Pro Plus, one of the biggest features is the custom program. Tell us about that.
In the Sedona Pro, we have 3 different settings with pre-programmed programs, 12 programs each. In the Sedona Pro Plus, we created a custom setting where people can choose from 12 programs to create their own settings, which means they can create their own frequency, they can choose their own intensity, they can choose the waveform. And what we have with the Sedona, important is, for example, the frequency, that you not only go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, we can go 1.01, 1.02 hertz. And people don't understand that the decimal in the frequency is a very important thing in PEMF. And that's why, for example, the Schumann frequency, we talk about 7.83 hertz. People could say, why is it 7.83? It's closer to 8 hertz or 7 hertz. No, it's 7.83 hertz. It has its effect, yeah. So people can definitely choose their own settings, yeah. A lot of my clients are naturopaths. A lot of my clients do muscle testing. They say, oh no, I need now 715 hertz, 0.6, yeah. So they can type it in, they save it, and they can keep it. And if they want to delete it, they can delete it anytime. So that's really great. For example, also, we have a lot of Lyme's patients lately, yeah. And we have, of course, in the 36 programs we have preset, we cover a lot, but we don't cover everything, to be honest, yeah. So that's why, with the customized settings, it's really ideal.
And see, this is again, okay, especially now that's primarily focused for those practitioners that have the knowledge and know specific frequencies, but as you attend our webinars, as you contact us and you learn from our videos, then you'll be proficient in that knowledge to where you can say, okay, well, I want to do, let's say, harmonics. I want to do half of 7.83, which would be 3 point and something. And then I want to come up and I want to step it up. And and so from what you're telling me is they could do like 10 minutes of one frequency and then 10 minutes. Can you step it up to where it programs the amount of time?
What we have is when we set a program and they set a time, so they can choose a frequency from to. So basically, if they say, okay, I want to have a frequency range now from, let's say, 715.18 hertz, going to 12,345.68, the frequency is going up. Within these 30 minutes, steps up, comes back down again 10 times in the 30 minutes, yeah? So within these 30 minutes, and people have to understand our body, all our organs in our body have different frequencies. So we click on their organs with the correct frequency, at least 10 times in this half an hour, which is tremendous, yeah? So that's where we really create a self-healing process. A body is doing the healing by itself. We only here to support it with the unit, yeah. And that's a fabulous thing.
Yeah, wonderful. So now one of the last things is we purchased the device. It's well made. Everything in it. The coils, just like the pillow, 8.5 pounds of copper. That's ridiculous. I mean, it's not, but it's just unheard of. What type of warranty do we have on the machine?
We have the original warranty from 3 years, and for an extra $290 US, we're offering a lifetime warranty.
A what?
A lifetime warranty.
So wait a minute. So we get 3 years. Now listen, everyone, you get 3 years standard manufacturer's warranty, and that unless you go and take a knife and rip the mat open, which is
we're not covering the tear and wear. So definitely.
But then
all technical issues is covered lifetime.
For $290 extra.
Extra, yeah.
And it's just, see, I mean, this is, and that, and of course, when you build something well, then you don't have to worry about it breaking down that much. Now, like you said, in the control panel, you might have a patch that you might have a glitch or something, which we can go in with the USB and update the software, and boom. Wonderful.
And we have 2 service stations in the US, so whenever something happens, people can send it from the West Coast to the West location and from the East Coast to the East location.
Okay. So for all of our US customers, you've got that covered. We ship here to Nos Pain Relief Store. We ship here locally in the States, but also around the world. We can ship anywhere. We drop ship it, correct?
Yeah, correct. We drop ship so far in 32 countries worldwide.
So that's a, and so is there anything else you want to share about the Sedona Pro Plus with our listeners?
No, basically, I'm really happy that I created such a device, and I'm still thinking what could I do better. But at the moment, I don't have the idea yet. But hopefully, something will come up.
Well, it's like I tell all of our customers, it's baby steps. Of course, you are already in flight, but whenever people get the PMF systems with me, I said, listen, day by day, don't think that don't think it's Jesus putting his hand on you and you're healed overnight or in an hour. We go little by little, let the body adjust and correct itself, correct?
Yeah, correct. And patience is needed, but I never promise people anything. I say, okay, take your time. It can happen. Yeah. So when it happens much faster, which is most of the case, they're even more happier.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, listen, I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule. Of course, we're always trying to get these times together. I'm busy. He's busy. We're on different time zones, and but then again, we're going to be releasing videos. Try to do one a week or one every few weeks, depending on our schedule. And we want to educate our customers. That's the biggest thing, is education and customer support, because the device isn't worth anything if you don't know how to operate it correctly.
Correct.
So listen, everybody, thanks for joining us on this video installment. We've got more coming up in the future. Franz, thank you for joining us again. I look forward to a future of helping people. Our focus is educating, and the biggest thing is helping people self-care. Help yourself, okay? Because our Western or our medicine today, some things, it's okay, but you got to take care of yourself. No one else is. Right?
Yeah, right. Always good talking to you, Jimmy. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you so much. All right. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Bye.